Hello, my name is Jan Thielemann, and in this video I want to talk about dashboard panels, and I want to show you how you can create your own. So what is a dashboard panel? Oh, I accidentally stopped my server, so I will quickly start it. So the first thing a user sees when he logged in is the dashboard. The dashboard consists of two places, the Home tab and this collapsible sidebar here. And all the things you see here are called dashboard panels. You can drag them around, resort them, collapse and expand them. Here, when you click on the preference and the manage gadgets, you can disable them. Or display them again. As you just saw, the number of columns in the dashboard is variable, and for example, if I remove the performance dashboard panel right here, then I get 2 columns in the Home tab, and if I add it back again, then I get 3 columns. So let's go to the system client. To add a new dashboard panel, you have to do 2 things. The first thing is to go to the dashboard content window and add a new entry here. So just like this. Let me see what it is done here. Okay. So here you have to provide the gadget URI, which is normally located in a ZUL directory, and I will call mine panel.zul and save this one. Okay. So this column number is used to determine where the panel should be displayed. You see there's no dashboard panel displayed here, but there's the performance dashboard panel here, which is not shown because on the system client I don't have any goals defined, but the dashboard still thinks it's here. And if you take a look at the dashboard preference, then you can see that the performance dashboard panel here is in the column number 2, which is this one. And even if I don't have goals, then the application still thinks it's there. So here in the dashboard content you can define the default column number, which is used when you create a new entry in the dashboard preference. You can provide a default line number, so the line number is to determine where to place it in the column. And you have some other things you could configure, but we don't need to configure them yet. So I will just save this, which I already have done. And then I can go to my preferences. And this window is used to display or to make dashboard panels available for a user. So before I can manage my dashboard panels here, I first have to add it here. So I just created a new dashboard content. So now I can use this. The user is super user, and the role is system administrator, which I'm currently logged into. And now I can select my new panel right here and save this. That's all I have to do in the application dictionary. And now I can create my new dashboard panel in the code. So to do this, I first create a new fragment I uncheck this checkbox because I don't want my code in the default iDempiere repository. I select the Equinox OSGI framework. Here I choose the Java 6 execution environment because it can always happen that the client for who I develop is still using Java 6 and I want him to be able to run my code. Then I have to select the host plugin, which is org iDempiere UI ZK, and click on finish. Here I have to create a new folder, which is called Zul, and as you saw in the dashboard content here, I use the Zul directory. I could also place this file, mice called panel Zul. I could place it directly here, but I like to group Zul files in a Zul directory, so I created it. In this one, you maybe guessed it already, I have to create a new file, which is basically a simple XML file. And here I have to place a special code, which is window, use, and the fully qualified class name of my dashboard. So here I have to create a new package, or iDempiere Web UI dashboard, and create my new dashboard class, which is DP panel. And the DP stands for dashboard panel. And if you want to take a look at other dashboard panels, just search for DP and you will find all of them, like the activities, the calendar, and so on. So there's one additional step you have to do. In the runtime tab, you have to add the Zul folder, and on the build tab, you have to make sure that the Zul folder is checked right here. And then save your manifest. Now we can close this and this file and code our dashboard panel. The first thing you have to do is to extend the dashboard panel class. I also want to implement an event listener, so I can click on buttons, for example. And now I have to create a default constructor. So I use, that was the wrong one, DP panel. And here the first thing I have to do is call super. What's the problem with this? Now it works. Maybe I made a typo. And after the super call, what I like to do is to set a fixed high, because I noticed that if I let the dashboard panel determine its high by itself, then it can happen that depending on when you calculate the high, the dashboard panel gets really small, so you just see the name of the panel, for example, and not the content. So I normally set a fixed high. And to do this, I call this set high, and I use, for example, 220 pixels. I also like to give my dashboard panel an S-class, so I can style it via CSS files. So I set this, set as class panel box, for example, but you can call it whatever you want. The next thing I like to do is to create two methods. The first one is init layout, in which I initialize my layout classes, and then a second method for my components, where I initialize all the components I want to use. So I just create this two method, and then I need some instance variables. So the first one I want to create is the logger, because logging is always useful. As you see, it's now red because it cannot resolve the CLogger class, so I have to go to my manifest, the dependencies, and oops, remove this. Let's see. Oh, it's not because my not because it cannot resolve the CLogger, but because the class I entered here, I copied this from another class and this didn't work. Yes, it should have the CLogger available because I have created a fragment to the UIZK package, and the UIZK package has a dependency to the base plugin where the CLogger is located, as you can see here. The bundle for which I create a fragment has a reference to the base plugin, so that's okay. Then it wants me to generate a serial ID, and because I don't like warnings, I always do this. Then I have to build this, and the warning is removed. This warning is just because I haven't used the logger yet. So there are two other things I want to use. One class for my layout, and one which is a div container, where I will place all the components I will create. And then of course I need some components, and here I use a checkbox, and a text box. Okay, let's use the iDempiere ones. I believe they have some additional code in them, and they extend the zcos checkbox. So in my init layout method, right here, I want to initialize my layout and give it some values. So the first thing I do is set the parent of the layout to this, and this is the dashboard panel itself. Also I provide an S-class for this, and give it some other values, like it should be flexible in height and width. Then I do the same for my content area, and what I do here is the parent to my content area is the layout, and it also has a flexible height and width, and it has this style, which is CSS style, and here I use overflow auto. And what this does is, in a div, if the content of this div is larger than its parent, then it gets a scroll bar, so you can scroll in this div container. So the next method to implement is my init component, and here the first thing I do is to since I have created the checkbox up here, I use this one to add event listeners and set tooltips. So import the events method, and the events class has several different events for which you can listen. For example, an on click and a checkbox, or if you are in a text field, then you have the on OK and I believe on cancel. and on blur and some other events. But you can take a look at the help of the ZK framework to get an overview about all this. So the next thing I do is to implement my text box, and I also want a label to display a text. Then I have to add all these components. Which one do I use? This one, right here. Yeah, and then I have to add all the components to my content area. And since I want them below each other, I use a VBox. And then I can simply append all my components to this box, and it will automatically align them below each other. And finally I have to add my box as a child to the content area. Then the next thing I want to show you is the onEvent method, because I implemented an event listener, and here I can get different things from the event. For example, I can get the component from which the event comes from, and I can get the event name. And then I can use this event name to determine which event which event was just used. So here I have an error. Because of a missing bracket. Okay. And here, for example, in my onClick event, I could then check if the component is equals my checkbox, for example, or if the component is an instance of the checkbox. But we don't bother with this. We just want to see that the events occur. Okay, so now I save this class, stop my server, go to my run configuration in the server, find my plugin, which is iDempiere, right here, and run the server again. Now I can log in, and you see, here's my new dashboard panel with my label, with my checkbox, and as you see, the blur event is fired when when the field loses its focus. Also, when I hit return, the OK event is fired, and here every time I click on the component, the event is fired. Yeah, and this is the tooltip I set. So what else can you do in these dashboard panels? Now I want to show you a dashboard panel I created, which is called Broadcaster. And as you see, there are some more things, like I use a tree in this one, I have a tree model with it, I use the server push template to when something changes in the code, then I get notified in my dashboard panel. So if you're interested in this, then you can take a look at this dashboard panel or the recent items dashboard panel, which I used to create this code. And here I want to show you the onEvent method. And as you see here, I check, for example, if the component is equal to another component in my code, or if it's an instance of a given component, and based on this I do different things. So if you're interested in this code, then you can find it at my Bitbucket repository, The link is in the description below. And yes, I hope this video helps you, and I see you in the next video.